The truth occurs.
Hi everyone. So I've been here reading about the Canadian government's budget for Canada for 2012, and it doesn't look good. They're taxing us more and more, picking our pockets all the time. We see the students out protesting because of tuition hikes in Quebec, and everybody's just saying, well, you gotta raise tuition in Quebec. It's just not fair that Quebec students pay lower tuition than everyone else, as if that's the issue. We're discussing the wrong thing. This is not the problem. The problem is not that we need more taxes or need more cuts. That's not the problem. You're going to see what the problem is later. It's going to be explained to you by a 12-year-old girl. Okay, so here's what our government's doing. Canada Budget 2012 cuts for public service investment for business in conservative spending plan. Budget 2012 titled Jobs, Growth and Long-Term Prosperity. I'm sure that the fine print was for the private banks, the corporations and the rich, slashing $5.2 billion from public services, spending $900 million to eliminate about 19,200 federal jobs. Budget 2012, families, seniors, and workers are once again the victims in the conservative budget. 30 is the new 20, 70 is the new 50, and 67 is the new 65. Also, they're going to pull the plug on public internet access programs. Oh, I get it. The main purpose of the internet is to market stuff to consumers. Those who are too poor or cheap to have internet in their home, who needs them? Telefilm cuts $1.7 million in film funding and 16 jobs. In times like these, documentary films are just not that important. Also, the funding to the CBC is being cut. Who really needs the CBC, the internet, or documentaries, or old age security, or any of those things? But they're not going to cut our health care, right? Oh, I guess I was wrong. At least for the Inuit women, they're getting their health care cut. Look, they've been living up in the Arctic for like ever, and they've always managed. So what do they really need health care for anyway? Canadian healthcare user fees, penny wise and pound foolish. Slowly and slowly, less and less things are covered. But I thought that the reason we were getting taxed so much was so that the government could use this money for all these things, including healthcare. So I don't understand. How come we're paying tax? We're paying so much tax. They just keep picking our pockets. They got new taxes every week. And then they keep cutting the services that we're supposedly paying for with our taxes. So where's all this money going? This would be explained best to you by 12-year-old Victoria Grant. In the speech that she gives here, 12-year-old girl explains the crimes of the Canadian banking system. And she was also recently interviewed by Dan Dix from Press for Truth. So the problem is that since the 1970s, instead of using the Bank of Canada, we've been borrowing from private banks. Our government's borrowing from private banks. So they're giving us money that doesn't exist and then charging us interest. And all this tax money that we're paying is basically going to pay the interest on the money, the fictitious money that we owe to these private banks. I'm so tired of hearing people saying that we need to raise taxes to pay for this or that or whatever. We're in a hole that the strategy that we're using right now is never going to get us out of that hole. All the money is just going to keep getting funneled upward into the pockets of these bankers and also corporate pockets in general, but especially the banks. And so the strategy that we have now is never going to work. We're just going to end up with more inflation, more debt, more poverty, more unemployment, more taxes, and more cuts to services. So if you want to really fix the problem, I think maybe what we should do is have Victoria Grant as our finance minister. I don't know if 12 years old you're allowed to do that job, but I nominate Victoria Grant because at least she knows what the problem really is. So I don't want to hear any more about whether or not we should have tuition hikes. This is what we need to be dealing with. And the good news is that, according to what she says, sorry about the howling wind, according to Victoria, our parliament has the authority to make this change happen, that they can actually change the banking system. Now, wouldn't that be sweet? So watch these videos and I don't know, maybe we can find a way to give more support to Victoria and spread this share this with everyone. Let's get the word out so people stop discussing with tuition hikes and get to the root of the problem. Let's at least, educate people and wake them up so they know what we're dealing with. So, well, thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.